Hey everybody, what's going on? Dace here and welcome back. A little over a week ago I received a code for Operation Steel on Nintendo Switch. This had nothing to do with making a review or even a video of any sort. It was offered to me freely, and after the first session I enjoyed a number of things and wanted to share my thoughts, so I decided to do this video. So today we'll briefly explore the game, how it works, and a couple of things that could improve the experience. Let's take a look. Operation Steel is a horizontal roguelike arcade shooter developed by Undermog Games and published by Lab Games. At the start you only have access to the default ship, but you can unlock a secondary vessel before long, which is slower but has increased armor and a different weapon. As a roguelike, you of course unlock various weapons and items as you progress, and the game includes over 35 unlockables. Stages are procedurally generated and a run is 5 stages long but uses a branching system like the Darius games, so every time you finish a level you can choose one of 2 stages to play next. There are over 20 stages and more than 25 bosses. Additionally, enemy waves are randomized. You can choose one of 3 rewards when each mid-boss or stage end boss is destroyed. These often include armor upgrades, HP repair, an extra bomb, new weapons, etc. Enemies will drop various forms of currency when destroyed, and collecting these drops will count toward funds you can spend at the shop between each stage. This shop is where you can pay for further repairs, buy additional bombs, and upgrade the strength of your weapons and all that kind of stuff. In games emphasizing RNG, shops like this are always a huge part of the excitement. Seeing what is available each time is great, and I love the selection process. There's a strategic element at play since I won't always have enough to pay for everything I'd like to get before jumping into the next stage. For instance, bombs only cost 75, which is really cheap, but sometimes the purchase won't be worth it if it means missing out on upgrading my weapon, purchasing a passive one, or paying for necessary repairs. One thing that adds to the enjoyment is being able to sell weapons or items you don't want. This makes each run feel like you can work with it more, whereas in some games you have a poor selection of weapons or items to choose from, and before long the run feels less than exhilarating because you're playing with things you don't want. After completing the normal mode, hard mode is unlocked. Operation Steel also includes a novice mode and time attack, which are available when you start the game, and a boss rush mode which needs to be unlocked. In the menu you can check your list of unlockables and achievements. Operation Steel features hand-drawn art, and the backgrounds are what spoke to me the most, which span a wide range of fascinating locations. The sound effects are fine, but what stood out the most was the solid soundtrack by Dolphin. Each track I've heard so far has matched the action and been a pleasant change compared to many shmup soundtracks. In terms of how the game performs, we have responsive controls and everything runs smoothly. There were only a couple of very minor things I noticed. Sometimes when starting a run, the first second of my ship's movement would look choppy, but this wasn't very often and doesn't impact the gameplay since it's before any enemies show up anyway. The other thing I encountered was being notified that certain weapons or items were now unlocked when I had already seen these announcements after previous runs. I'm not sure if this actually impacts the game or if it's merely a duplicate instance of a notification. In any event, everything else plays as you would expect. There were a couple of things I immediately noticed that I think could improve the overall experience. Firstly, the bomb doesn't feel satisfying or impactful. While it is a useful ability that can save you in a pinch, it felt a little too empty, as if it was missing substance that could encourage a feeling of having done something big and powerful. The second thing I would have liked to see is a brief explanation beside each item. There were some that either looked or sounded cool, but after buying them it was evident I wouldn't get much use out of them, or they simply didn't contribute enough to my playstyle. While you really only need to go through this once to learn what something does, it still takes something away from the experience if you have a solid run on the go and end up spending on something you're not into after the fact. However, neither of these things deter me from playing the game, they're simply things I feel would improve the quality and experience. While my time with Operation Steel has been short so far, introducing the experience has been very refreshing amidst my other projects and game-related objectives. It inspires squeezing in one more run when you crash and burn. The difficulty won't be anything crazy for seasoned players, yet I still feel it's a fun game to jump into, and I understand that balancing difficulty modes across players with varied skill and experience levels is no easy task. All in all, I think it's a great addition to the shmup library on Switch, and I'm happy to have received a copy. A huge thanks to Undermog for providing me with the game. If you're looking to snag this on Switch, you can pick it up on the eShop for about 13 Canadian, that's probably around $10 USD or just below that price point. The game has also been out on Steam since January of 2022, so you can always track it down there as well. Anyway, that brings this video to a close. Let me know what you think if you've played it previously or if it looks like the kind of experience you're after. Thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you next time. Take care.